What's up, everybody? So, the Horus Heresy Weekender wrapped up recently as of this ramble, and it got me thinking about Book 6 of the Horus Heresy Forward series. It's the most recent book I purchased of the series. Kind of makes sense. It's the latest one out until Book 7 comes out. And it got me thinking about it because it's not a bad book. I don't think any of the Horus Heresy books are bad necessarily, but in a power ranking, it's second weakest, with Book 4 being the weakest in my opinion. It's still a good book. It's not weakest in terms of the units in there are bad, but it's just the overall what you get out of the book is the second weakest in the series in my opinion. But I still think it's a fantastic book, and I want to do a pro and con ramble for book 6 just to give my thoughts on it. If you were maybe thinking about purchasing the book, this might help you make a decision. If you just weren't sure, maybe not, share your thoughts on the book in the comments as well, because I always like to see what other people think. Kind of gives an idea, a little microcosm, if you will, of what the community is thinking about these things. Now, with that said, I want to start with the con first, because for me, there's just one con. It's a bit of a doozy, and it's something that if you were not aware of, you could be sorely let down if you purchase it thinking something different. And that is the Dark Angels, Blood Angels, and White Scar presence in this book. To Forge World's credit, they did not oversell the presence at all. In fact, it just specifically states you're going to get new Legion Astartes rules for the Dark Angels, Blood Angels, and White Scar's legions. That's quite literally a thing. It's not that's not like a term meaning you're gonna get the whole shebang of fluff in there. You're gonna get quite literally the Legion special rules for that Legion, the special war gear for that Legion, and 2 rights of war for that Legion, and that's it. And that's all you do get. But if you didn't know that, because maybe you were holding out as a White Scar fan, let's say, and you were holding out waiting for the book with them in it to purchase, and you didn't know kind of what they meant by Legion special rules, or what did they say, Legion Astartes rules. If you didn't know what they meant by that, you could be sorely disappointed in purchasing Book 6, because all you're gonna get is 2 rights of war for those 3 legions, 2 per legion. You're gonna get special war gear for each of those legions, and you're gonna get the legion tactics basically for that legion, and that's it. So again, to Forge World's credit, they didn't oversell it at all. They made it very clear, but if you didn't know what that meant, you could be really disappointed. So, with that being the case, that's the big con. This book, while introducing cool concepts like the Shattered Legions and Black Shields and the Knight Errants, hitting the scene and everything like that, and obviously units and war gear that Forge World has made for the Horus Heresy between books 5 and 6, and new special characters for a bunch of the legions as well. All cool stuff. It's a filler book when you look at it. I mean, yeah, there's cool mission and campaign things, but it's really the second of the filler books. And it's these 3 legions being tacked on towards the end of the book, just 4 pages per, and that's all they get in terms of screen time, does more to accentuate the idea of this being a filler book for me than trying to hide that idea. And it looks like at the time of book 6 being a thing, this is Forge World's new idea, was to do this, and the thought was that this was going to be the way they were going to do the rest of the legions, a little bit now and the rest of it in a separate book. But it seems like book 7, the whole shebang for the Thousand Suns and the Space Wolves are going to be in book 7. Book 8 is going to be Dark Angels and Blood Angels. It looks like we're going to get everything wrapped up in there as well. So I guess this tactic didn't work out too well. I didn't think it would. If that's truly what happened, I would have called this happening. But it doesn't mean the book is bad. It just means that if you go in there expecting the full shebang for the Blood Angels, you're going to be disappointed and then feel like you wasted your money. So if you're expecting that, and that's what you want to purchase, then I would recommend holding off of book 6. But if you're interested in the Knight Errants and what they got to bring to the table, interested in the Shattered Legion force, if you're interested, in what's going on with these Black Shields that were first introduced, what's the word, in book 4 with a single picture, if you're interested in the new Rights of War for a variety of legions and so forth, there's a lot in this book when you think about it. You got mission and campaign stuff. And there's a lot for it to offer as long as you understand what it is offering and what it isn't offering. But with the Horus Heresy Weekender having just wrapped up recently as of this ramble, it got me thinking, what if they could magically redo Book 6? And it got me thinking that if they were, it should be like Book 5. And by that I mean one Legion. Because hindsight being 2020, seeing the roadmap up to Book 8, we got two Legions in Book 7, Thousand Sons and Space Wolves. Then we got two new Legions in Book 8, Dark Angels, Blood Angels. That leaves the White Scars out in the dark. And it looks like they're doing Legions kind of at big pivotal areas, big pivotal battles and so forth. We had, the Ultramarines basically at Calth. We had, we're gonna have the Thousand Sons and the Space Wolves at Prospero. We had, Isfin 3, Isfin 5, stuff like that. And for the White Scars, they were at the Siege of Terra, just like the Blood Angels and the Imperial Fists were. And before that, they were kind of wrapped up in a battle that the Space Wolves relieved for them so the White Scars can go to Terra. Those are the only real two options for a big thing they could do for the White Scars. I don't know which they would do in Book 9, and hopefully the White Scars would come out in Book 9 and not have to wait for yet another filler book to come by. So it got me thinking, if they could redo Book 6, I think Book 6 should have been the book for the White Scars. Cut out the Blood Angels and the Dark Angels stuff, because it's really not much anyway. And then, if they wanted to keep the book this size, because that's not enough pages to do what they did for every other Legion, which is give you fluff. A fluff section with the Legion's origins and history, Primarch fluff, and notable battles, and then the Legion Astartes rules for that Legion, which include, like I mentioned, the special rules of war gear, rights of war. Then you would get special units, special characters, and the Primarch. All that takes up a good amount of pages. So they have to cut something else out of this book. And I think cutting Black Shields out, and I think maybe one of the missions that really pertain with Black Shields and a lot of the fluffy stuff, basically making the Black Shields non-existent in Book 6, would give all the room they needed for the White Scars. It's not that I don't like Black Shields. I'll admit, when I first heard about Horus Heresy Black Shields, it was confusing because that was a term used in the Death Watch. But anyways, I was a little confused, but it's cool, and I feel like Black Shields could be introduced in Book 8, as a thing, or introduced later, and people wouldn't be like, I can't wait for these Black Shields, because we didn't really have much to go on for them anyway. It was a brand new concept introduced for the Horus Heresy. All we had to go on was what we thought about them or the term from Death Watch, and thought, hey, this is probably going to be similar. So you cut all that out, and then the Dark Angel and Blood Angel stuff out. You have plenty of room for the White Scars, and Book 6 could have been the White Scar book. We could have gotten all the special rule stuff, all the special characters, special units, the Primarch, and we could finally see if he would have a Rhino to ride on. We could have gotten the fluff for them, notable battles, fluff on their Primarch and everything, a mission maybe based around that, and just fluff geared around that to really get the White Scars established as a Legion fully ready to play. And then seeing how Thousand Sons and Space Wolves is Book 7, and Book 8 was going to be Dark Angels, Blood Angels, that would mean by Book 8 we would have all the Legions covered thoroughly. From there, they could do filler style books to their heart's content as long as they sell, because it wouldn't really be filler anymore, considering that the Horus Heresy, at least the way I look at it, is a Space Marine Legion story. Having all the Space Marine Legions covered rules-wise covers your Legion fan base. From there, you can go buck wild and really take the scenic route to the Siege of Terra. So that's kind of hindsight 2020. What if they could magically change Book 6? And that is a big con. I know I focused most of this ramble on the con, but and I don't mean the White Scars Primarch, but the pros of this book is everything else. The fact that it has cool mission and campaign stuff in it, the fact that it has the Shattered Legions and the Knight Errants to really take a look at what that's about, to get an idea about Black Shields and make you wonder what's going on there. The special characters and rights of war for the established legions that are put into this book, new special characters, new rights of war, some mechanicum stuff. Uh, all of this is really cool, and the fluff that goes along with it is really cool. So there's a lot of really cool stuff here that is definitely worth the read if you want to get book 6. Just understand what you're getting. You're not getting any real in-depth glimpse into a particular new legion. You're getting the most basic of glances, but you're getting a whole lot of other really cool stuff. And to be honest with you, the more I look at Horus Heresy stuff from Forge the more I really like this over 40k. Not because 40k stuff is bad. I don't think it is. I just prefer Space Marines as Legion. I prefer the grandioseness of that. So you have these established legions, and then you have now the introduction of Shattered Legions and Black Shields, where basically you're going, hey, make up your own warband force. You can even give it a completely unique color scheme. It's almost like saying, hey, make up your own DIY Heresy era force. It's almost like making up your own chapter. That just adds a whole lot of appeal. I mean, it's not something I personally want to do in this era, but I think it's another check mark in the cool move column from Forge World for the Horus Heresy. And it makes you look at 40k going, what are you going to bring to the table? So, anyways, um, book 6, solid book, still in terms of my power rankings, if you will, the second weakest. But I do like it significantly more than book 4 because while it is filler, it's a Star Taste filler, and that doesn't feel as bad considering it's the story of a Star Taste when you think about the heresy. This is the story of the legions and how we got Chaos Marines and how we eventually came to having chapters as opposed to legions and all that. So having it be a filler book, but being a filler book mostly based around different Space Marine stuff, isn't that bad. That's my thoughts on the Horus Heresy Book 6 Retribution. Uh, I like it. I'm not um, wishing I didn't purchase it. I knew what I was getting into, and I like what's in there. I just feel like if they could go back and do it again, this should have been where White Scars were introduced for us. I think that would have gone a long way. Anyways, that's my thoughts. Feel free, if I could speak properly, to share your thoughts and tell us what you think. Um, by us, I mean me and everybody else watching, what you think in the comment section below for Book 6. And thanks for sticking through it. Hopefully you've enjoyed and it wasn't too boring. I know I kind of repeated myself umpteen times, but it happens. And any question, comments, or requests, leave them in the comment section. I will be getting to at a glances. Don't worry, I seen the request. That's cool, and I will get to them. So anyways, thanks for sticking through it, and until the next one, take it easy.